everyone, in today's video I'm just going to be showing you guys what I am putting into the Lickimat products that I got in a video that I did fairly recently. In that video I got several products including just classic Lickimats, which are the flat guys you can see there, the UFOs like that purple one near to the front, the Splash, which are the kind of pointy down disc shaped ones, and then the Yogi Pots, which are in the very back there. I also got wobblers as well, but I am not including those in this because I do not want to freeze the wobblers. I just want to keep them as something that the dogs will be using just with peanut butter or yogurt or something like that as a treat or distraction in the middle of the day, and not something that requires me to be prepping in advance. So as you may have seen a second ago, one of the things that I do use in these is peanut butter. So I like to just use this one. If you can get it in Aldi, it's very, I think it's a $5 for a tub of it. It's very thin, it's very sticky, and it's just 100% nuts. There's no added palm oil or any of the things that we want to avoid, like xylitol and birch sugar, which are poisonous to dogs. So just keep an eye out that it doesn't have those in it. So it's just pure 100% just nuts. And with these, I like to just put kind of a blob here and there on the different mats and then kind of smush it in as much as possible. And it gets really like sticky and viscous when the dogs are trying to lick it off, and it takes some time for them. It makes them have to kind of work for it a bit. And the whole point of the Lickimats and the Lickimat products is that you want them to be licking at it for quite a while because it's kind of calming for them. It keeps them engaged. I like to use these especially because currently it's just around Halloween season right now. And then right after that is going to be New Year's and so on and so forth. So there's going to be a lot of fireworks. There's going to be lots of cars coming and going to houses, doorbells going off, all that kind of stuff that can stress out the dogs. Beauty in particular is terrified of fireworks, and everyone else is just kind of getting set off by all these doors opening and closing of people that they don't recognise and cars they don't recognise, so on and so forth. So these can help keep them a bit calmer. So with all of these ones, I'm going to be prepping these and putting them into my freezer. I have one of those freezers that has just kind of two drawers. One drawer is for me and my meal prep for myself, and the other one is just full of dog stuff. So it's just a dog enrichment freezer. So all of these will be going in there alongside some Kongs and things that I already have already. And then I have a few kind of cheaper off-brand Lickimat style mats for dogs as well, and I'm going to be comparing them to these ones to see how well they hold up in comparison. But I can already tell just by feeling these and seeing how bendy they are and the patterns and all that kind of stuff, I feel like they're going to hold up far better than the cheap alternative ones that I have been using. You can put as much or as little effort as you want into Lickimats. If you want to just have Lickimats, which I'm just going to say Lickimat to cover any of the Lickimat products at this time, because otherwise I'm going to take ages talking about it. If you want to use a Lickimat just for a bit of natural yogurt or a bit of peanut butter and not use any freezer and not use anything like that, and just have it where you throw on a tablespoon, smush it around, give it to the dog takes half an hour and is happy out, then that's completely fine. That is entirely, that's what they're made for. You can use them whatever way suits you and your dog or dogs. Also, they have a cat range, but I can't vouch for any of it because I don't have a cat right now at the moment, unfortunately. So if you want to just use things like yogurt and peanut butter, pate, or sometimes the Kongs sell these little they're like little spray cans of peanut butter flavoured stuff and beef flavour and duck flavour and chicken flavour and so on and so forth that you could put inside Kongs. Same thing, you could put those on Lickimats if you wanted to, smush it around and give it to your dog straight away. That is no problem. That's the whole point of them, is for them to be able to just lick away at them and take their time. I like to use the deeper ones as a meal replacement. I like to fill them with butternut box, so it's I've covered it on a previous channel but not here, I don't think. I can't remember. But butternut box is literally just a pre-made dog meal service that delivers to your door, and they're frozen pouches and you just defrost them in the fridge and then you give it to your dog, and it's just meat and veg and that kind of stuff. So with those, I like to use them for kind of enrichment feeding, because it's more interesting for the dogs. It's something that smells really good and they're like, oh, this is different, this is special, this is great, I want to work harder for this. And so they're happy to sit there and just lick away at a frozen lump of meat. It's cooked meat and all that, but it just engages them, if you get me. So I like to use the mats on the right here, so the 4 Lickimats, whatever design they are, I like to use them for kind of, oh, there's a storm right now, here, have this to distract yourself. and I prefer to use the deeper ones on the left for, hey, it's been raining all day and we haven't gotten to get a big walk in, and you guys are fairly like frustrated and are trying to, you know, do stuff, and you want to like have a bit of exercise. I'm like, well, here's some mental exercise until we can go back out again. So with these, you can use your own food, no problem, if you're wanting to use it as a meal replacement or an enrichment feeding. If you want to freeze a meal for your dog and your dog eats kibble, take their portion of kibble, add a little bit of water, let it soak for a while, and then mush it up and it'll become like a paste. So you can use that and you can put it in, see what they think, or you can only like half freeze it, or you can just put kibbles into it, top up with a little bit of water and freeze it like a popsicle kind of thing. And then as they're eating at it, the water will come off. So that's kind of something that I tend to do whenever I have a dog that has had a surgery or something like that. So Beauty had a TPLO there last year, and she was really, really bad with drinking. She just wouldn't drink from it. You'd let her out of the crate for a little bit of time walking around, and she'd be so interested in going and looking at everything else that she wouldn't be willing to drink. And if you put the water in with her in the crate, she would either completely ignore it, or she would unknowingly to herself just sit in it or knock it over. So what I did was I took a very similar to the Yogi pots in the back there. It was a different type of toy. I cannot remember where I got it from. If I remember, I'll stick it into the description. I cannot off the top of my head though right now. And I put her kibble into it until about halfway, and then I topped it up with water. Just plain water. And I froze it and I gave it to her, and half the kibble kind of floated up to the top, and so she just sat there and she licked it and licked it and licked it. And as it was going, she was obviously drinking that water or eating that water, and so she was hydrating herself through that instead. So there's several different reasons why these would be really useful to just have on standby, even if you're not planning on like every single meal giving them some form of like enrichment feeding. It's completely fine to give them food in a bowl, no problem. It's just, it adds a little bit of quality and a little bit of like difference into their everyday life to have the food given in something else, because they're not working for their food. They're not wolves hunting in the forest or anything like that. They're getting their food given to them by us. So it's kind of up to us to kind of mentally engage them and give them something to think about and something to do while they're eating, so they feel like they're doing more natural, like scavenging and stuff like that. So as you've seen just there, what I've done is I've kind of added a bit of bone broth that I had. I added a few little treats to sprinkle on top to just make it different, make it interesting. I've stuck some rabbit's ears into the Yogi pots over there, and now I'm just kind of pressing down with a spoon to kind of make them more embedded so they don't just fall off in the freezer, and so that the dogs actually have to, you know, work to get them. It's not impossible to get them, it's not difficult, but just they're not just sitting on top where it's just picked right up like it would be in a bowl. Depending on your dog and depending how long they take to try and eat stuff, or how deep the thing is that you're actually giving to them, you might want to take them out of the freezer for a few minutes before their actual meal time. So freezer is a great place to store them. They're not going to go off, they're just going to be there ready to go. Whereas I think for the UFOs, I know for certain that Pickle is going to try and just break that with her front teeth. Like, she's going to just stick her nose straight down into it and tries crunching on it to make it break up into pieces for her to eat. With that, I will likely just take it out of the freezer maybe 5 minutes before I'm actually giving it to them, so the top layer is softer, so she realizes that by licking she gets stuff, and then by the time she's reaching the middle and the lower layers, it will have softened a little bit so that she can just lick at it and get it that way, instead of her thinking it's a challenge that she has to take head on and try to break stuff to actually get what she wants. Always make sure to clean up after you're done. In this case, I have 4 wonderful helpers that are happy to assist me in that. And then once you're done, you've got all of your enrichment ready to go. So in the freezer, these can just sit open, so they don't need to be put away into boxes or wrapped with cling film or anything. However, I will say that if you have baking paper, for the Lickimats, just to save space instead of having them just spread out everywhere, put a piece of baking paper or parchment paper, whatever you want to call it, between each one, so that they don't stick to each other. Once they're frozen, you can separate them no problem, and then reuse that same piece of paper for the next time that you're doing enrichment feeding prep. So that's it for today. If you have any suggestions about stuff that you think that your dog really enjoys that maybe I should try with my guys, do leave them in the comments below. And if you have any questions, do let me know. If you want to know how the different things are standing up over time, you see this in the future, do ask me and I will let you know what it's like at that point in time. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for watching and have a good day.